Yeah, Dad, we're here. BP Hero Podcast, Season 7, Episode 1. Our guest tonight, after we let everybody get fouled in here, will be none other than the 2020 USSSA Major World Series MVP, Resmondo's Kevin Bazat. We're going to do the usual still. We're going to let everybody kind of get filed in here, get lined up, find a seat, get comfortable, and then we'll pull him in here. How's everybody doing tonight? Jason, glad to see you here, my friend. So this music is really loud on my headphones tonight. Is it really loud on the podcast? I'm going to cut it off once we get to podcast with him, but I always use it to kind of fill the empty space. It just sounds really loud in my headphones. Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit more. So it wasn't just me then. That's what I was wondering. I thought it seemed a little loud. Just like it was just blowing through my headphones. Like, man, that seems kind of off. So I'm glad it wasn't just me. There. Be good enough for now. Right? So how's everybody doing tonight? If you got any questions or anything, drop them in the chat here, and he and I will get to him. He's going to be watching the chat, watching for questions. I do have a list of things to ask him already, and we'll kind of work your guys' questions in as we go. Once we get everybody kind of filed in here. How's the music sound now? Does it sound better? What's up, Adam? How you doing? Q doing Q things in the chat. What's up, dude? Six to 8 inches of snow. That's gross, Matthew. That sounds absolutely terrible. I do know I got some East Coasters here. Hopefully nobody's stuck in all the snow and stuff that's going on out there. I know that Virginia got it pretty good. The HB guys out there in Virginia got it pretty good. So, hopefully it clears up for them. What's up, Eric? How you doing? Q, you're out drilling in this stuff? That's wild. Matthew, if you're in Michigan, that's completely normal, my friend. And that's actually one of the questions that I'll have for Mr. Bazat tonight is, like, do you ever just, like, go somewhere to get away to, like, go hit BP? I mean, obviously, there's all the indoor stuff, but, like, do you ever just, like, travel just to get away and kind of hit with the guys? Do they get together during the winter? And you are correct, Q. People do need the internet. They need the internet real bad. Some don't even understand how bad they need the internet. Brent says below zero there for the next week. Yeah, you guys can keep that up there. I'm out on that action. All right. So the last 2021 bat review is done. Today is Wednesday. By Friday, I will have up the best of ASA list, and then I'll probably do the best of U-Trip list probably on Sunday or Monday. We're going to do a little bit different this year, but I'm excited for something of a different format. It'll be interesting to kind of mix things up a little bit. and get that monkey off my back. I wanted to have it done sooner than I did, but one thing leads to another. Next thing you know, it's 2022 and you're putting out the best of 2021 list. Q, yeah. So Lily's food truck was there. Y'all know I love my Lily's food truck. Lily's food truck was at work yesterday. Me and Brian got us plenty of chicken tacos. It was absolutely amazing. Jason wants to know how many indoor places do we have to hit at in the area. Do we have one that's open to the public? So there's a couple that are like, if you know the right people, you can get in kind of things. There's like one or two of those. But as far as like open to the public goes, I do believe you have, what do they call it? The Power Alley or whatever it is. Then you got Played Against Sports. So the problem with Played Against Sports, their cage is it's very short. It's not the longest cage, but the issue is the net isn't very high. So you're almost playing fast pitch going in there and taking BP. But I mean, it is what it is. It swings at the end of the day. The Power Alley one isn't too bad. It's a little bit taller and you can spread out just a little bit. But there was a place called Fundamentals there in Columbia. That cage was humongous. It was like, I could probably fit two of my houses inside of that thing. Now, obviously, you could like slide curtains down and you know, like split that big cage up into multiple cages, like if you had a bunch of kids or something. But it was really nice in regard of being able to open all that up and like really like, you know, move around. You could really see like actually where a ball goes and see a little bit of tail and trajectory and that kind of thing, as opposed to just beating the ball into a net. But like I said, at the end of the day, even just beating the ball into a net is still swings. So probably going to start utilizing that stuff soon. We got lucky and got a lot of good weather here for a long time. And it's like somebody flipped a switch and like, you know, winter's like, hey y'all, it's time. We're here. So maybe we'll quiz Mr. Bazat on some good spots to hit. Maybe he knows a couple good spots for us to go. I do know that they're still trying to play softball around here as well. There's the tournament with the short fences I was telling you about a few podcasts ago. I spoke of that. They were going to try and have another one of those this weekend, and it canceled for only 3 teams. But they're actually having, I don't know if it's technically a winter world warm-up tournament, but I think that's what it's being treated as. A lot of teams are getting signed up for that and wanting to at least get a little bit of points on the board, so you're not going down and getting seated at Winter Worlds with absolutely no points at all down in Texas. And that is the 3rd weekend of January. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4th weekend. 4th weekend of January for C. The Sonic and the guys will be going down there, so we'll be able to tune in and watch them on the live feed and do their thing. So that'll be fun to do. We can hang out and watch that and do that thing. Maybe do a little bit of broadcast stuff like we did before. I thought that stuff was a lot of fun, so maybe we can try and run that back and watch them grind it out down there. Yeah, see, Q's going to Liberty this weekend, so that's where the tournament is going to be at. And like I said, it's a chance to get some points on the board. You know, everybody wants to play for a free tournament. I do believe one of the incentives with winning this tournament is you'll get signed up for a free one. I believe of your choice. So that'll be cool. Yeah, so you got C Winter Worlds. What would that be? I think it's CB and Open, whatever you want to call it. I think it's CB Open is how it goes. You've got that, I believe the 29th maybe? It's the 22nd or the 29th, and then D is the weekend after that. So there should be a pretty good turnout for D&E down there. Always thought it'd be kind of fun to go down there and do that tournament, kind of like a bucket list thing. We'll have to ask. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if he's going down there or not. I know, you know, Resmondo and those guys usually don't sign up for that stuff. I know they'll have some guys making some appearances and that kind of thing. But I said we quit messing around and just get this guy on the phone. let's see. Cut off this terribly cheesy music.
Hello.
Hello, we're live.
Hey,
You hear me?
what's going on, Jesse? Yep.
Did we
Can you
make
hear
it?
me?
Okay, yeah. I think we got it all squared away here.
Sounds good.
Remember that thing we talked about last night, trying to get everything squared away, and then I forgot to save the settings, so I had to go back and redo it all again. But I think we might have got it figured out.
Okay. Yep, I can hear you loud and clear.
Cool. So got a little bit of a crowd here in the chat already. We're just gonna start firing away. We got the USSSA World Series MVP from 2020, Kevin Bazat on the line here. So run me through that real quick. What was that like? That was a pretty big mix of emotions finishing that tournament and getting that award, right?
Well, yeah, way crazy moment. Something for me I probably never even, thought about. My goal is always going in, obviously, to win the world. Playing a team like I play on, it's, any weekend anybody gets hot and there's a lot of good. Everybody's great. So it's one of those things that anybody throughout the lineup could win those awards. It's a lineup full of Hall of Famers. Really.
Yeah.
So I never once ever thought about that. So it was of course you go through the motions of winning and getting done, and then you do the all tournament stuff. And the biggest thing for me was, all my teammates are sitting over there and I hadn't even thought about it yet, really. And I noticed I'm kind of by myself and everybody's like, Bazat should win MVP. And I'm like, huh? And I kind of look around and I'm like, is this about to happen? And then it did. It was kind of crazy. So
were you aware of the weekend you were having?
when you're playing good, and I try to do it game to game, so it's like, oh, I help that game, or,
yeah.
You notice when you don't, my job is to roll the lineup over. My job is to get, last year with Riley, KP, Connie, Bubba, my job is to get it to them,
whatever way you can.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care if I walk. I don't care if somebody makes an error. I don't care. Whatever it is to do to get on so that they have to go through that. So, like when things are rolling, like I'm doing my job, I didn't realize, I guess I didn't realize that it was like an MVP type weekend, because I don't ever really worry about that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But, you're having a, good weekend. You're getting the job done. We're playing good, and things are going smooth. So
that's probably a good thing though. Like it kind of, it helps you play with a clear mind in the regard of like, you're not freaking out thinking like, man, I'm having a weekend. This could be it. You're just out there grinding.
Right.
So that
right.
would be cool.
100%.
So what got you into playing slow pitch? Like, let's go way back here. Let's start at the beginning.
Man, I'm old. That's way back.
Oh, no. Quit.
No, it was really with a bunch of buddies from high school, man. The guys around here were like, Steve Squires and Tim Alvis. Tim Alvis actually kind of ran the first team I played on.
Okay.
Fresh out of college, Timmy and them were playing out at Old Twin Oaks.
Ooh.
So it was Timmy and Josiah Williams and Squires and, Drew Sims from around when he was still around here. And,
sure.
There's a bunch of us that just, high school buddies started going out there and playing league, and then, something to do on Tuesday and Thursday night and go play some softball and drink some beer afterwards, hang out.
What got you into the tournaments? What got your feet wet with that?
So then we won state and moved over to Rainbow. And then, you start finding out about traveling around to play some tournaments. So then you kind of get the competitive itch to, okay, so, you can go on the weekends and go play tournaments, play 4 or 5 games instead of 2 league games a night.
Sure. Yeah.
So we started kind of doing that locally, and then you kind of venture out, into St. Louis and Kansas City. And then, man, it just got crazy
What-
after that.
One thing led to
So
another from there.
yeah, it was. I mean, it went from playing with some guys here that travel all over Kansas City, St. Louis every other weekend to now I'm going to Indianapolis. Now I got teams from Chicago that want to take me to a couple tournaments. I think I flew down to. I got a random call from a guy in Springfield, Missouri, that was playing on a team out of Oklahoma and needed somebody for ISA World, I think it was, in Auburn, Alabama. I didn't know a single person, but they needed an infielder.
Yeah, why not go, right?
And he was like, "I'll fly you down, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, okay, I guess. And we went down there. It was actually RTI Worth out of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And went down there and played that weekend and played against a bunch of really good teams, actually beat a good team. And I kind of, after that, I was like, man, this is really cool, to fly around the country and play really, really good competition.
Sure.
And, it's just, here we are 20 years later and still doing it. So somehow.
Right. So 20 years is a long time. Obviously we talked about the MVP award from 2020 and everything. Like what would you classify as like your favorite slow pitch moment, like going through all of that stuff? Would it be the MVP award, or is there something else?
Man, I mean, it don't get individually, it doesn't get better than winning MVP of the Major World Series, right?
Sure.
So yeah, that's super cool. Playing all the Team USA's has been really cool. Every world has its little bit of a special moment. They're not easy to win. I mean, it seems like, I could go back to all the worlds that I've played in and won or even lost, and the wins, they're never easy. There's always, what you could say like a little lucky game or a lucky moment, or
sure,
you get some help, or you get a big hit from a guy that, is a role player that hadn't played all weekend. There's always something. They're so hard to win. So the more you sit and think about it, like probably the win in the worlds, the Major World Series is obviously super, super cool.
Sure.
That's the first one we won in 2016 was, you never, when I first started playing upper, it was, I went with our B team, went to Florida, and we watched from the stands. And I was like, man, how cool would it be to play on Disney's field in the Major World Series?
Yeah.
And I was like, that was a goal. I was like, it'd be so cool just to play in it. So then you play in it the first time and you're like, man, you sit there and watch the winner's bracket final. You're like, gosh, how cool would it be to play in the winner's bracket final in the Major World Series? First 2 years I played in the winner's bracket final of the Major World Series once I get with Brett. And now it's like, how cool would it be to win one? So, it had its steps for me. And then finally, like, accomplishing that was like, oh my gosh, I just won the Major World Series.
Yeah.
So 16 was really cool. Right. So 16, when it finally like all came together and you won your first one, was awesome. It was really cool. And then, you miss the next year, and then we win again in 18. It's like, all right, now you've kind of like, you're doing it again. It's not just you got lucky and did it once. Now you're on a team that's done it again.
Right.
So, they've all got their little moments, but
yeah,
I try to enjoy everything.
Yeah, and it seems like none of those are uneventful either. That's kind of the really cool thing with a lot of those is there's never, you don't sit back and even just watching from home, you don't sit back and watch and see like, oh, well, we've seen that 100 times. Like it seems like something always happens. There's always a crazy comeback story or something's going on, whether it's a team getting hot. It seems like it's always something. Yeah. That's kind of fun to watch too.
Yeah. I've won it 4 times now, and not one time in the 4 years that we've won it. 16 I would say was probably, I say the easiest, but we had 2 absolute battles with Gene Shop that year, and they were the number 1 seed. We came in as the number 4 seed that year. So it was like, we'd had a pretty rough year that year coming into the World Series. And one of those things, we just got hot at the right time, and we out-homered everybody by a ton.
Yeah. So
and it.
Go ahead.
But again, we came in as the 4 seed. We're playing the top 3 teams there from the visitors. Because it's done by home team. So you have to have pretty good leads. it's nothing for a team to score 6-7 runs when it's unlimited home runs on a baseball field.
Oh yeah, especially this last
So
year,
there's
we saw what can happen with that.
yeah, it's so and then 18 we won everything all year, and Andy and them give us fits at the World Series. Take us to the if game, and I mean it's hard to beat him there. That's for sure.
Sure,
Every year. So
guy's an absolute grinder.
It's what he's done in this game is it's it's unheard of, and he still gets it done at his age. It's
See, and that's the crazy thing
crazy.
about it is the power that he can have over the field, over the game, control the pace of the game. And a lot of people don't realize, like, man, he's old. Not taking anything against anybody else that playing, but dude, he's old and he's out there like pitching at the highest level. It's not like he's catching or playing first base. I mean, he's out there chucking and ducking every weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
and he's
just
been
wild.
hit hard and hopped right back up. I mean, it's pretty remarkable to watch, really. And I mean, I've played against him for so long now. I mean, he's so competitive, and I mean, it's fun to compete against guys like him too.
Sure.
It makes you better. So
you were talking earlier about you guys hit a lot of home runs. Was it 16? You said you guys hit a lot of home runs. Do you feel like teams do build themselves for the stadium? Just like, if I can just get through the year and get to the stadium, then we've got it like kind of downhill from there. Is that a thing so much? I know people talk about it, but is that really a thing, you think?
I think for the major teams it is.
Yeah.
We know we're going to struggle on some 300s. We know we're going to struggle in Cincinnati. We know we're going to struggle in Chicago on the short fields when it's blowing out a million miles an hour. Now,
Sure.
Do we still try to win and we still get mad and we still want to win? Yeah, we do, and we get frustrated. But at the end of the day, our main goal every year is to win the Smokies, to win the ASA, Super, to win the conference championships on the baseball field, and then win the World Series, obviously.
Yeah.
You want to win. If you win all the big fields, you win the Smokies, you win Seattle, you win what used to be Columbus. I don't think Columbus is going to be there this year, but you win the big fields. Most of the time, the points will line up where you'll actually win the points race too. But there's been some years it hasn't.
Sure.
We've won all the stuff on the big field and lost some of the smaller field ones, and it came back to the points race. We didn't end up winning.
Come back and bite you a little bit.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, yes, we just try to stick anybody there. You've got your guys like Cannell that's murders it on the baseball field, but yet he still plays defense.
Yeah, right.
You got your guys like that. So you don't just try to go out and find, 7 catchers and throw them into certain spots. But yes, at the end of the day, you are building your team for the baseball fields.
Gotcha. So I always kind of, see and read and hear people talk about that thing, but, you never really hear anybody that's like there and is kind of in with it to really kind of speak on it and like say, is that really a thing or not? So it's kind of interesting to hear that like it is actually a thing to kind of somewhat, obviously, like you said, you got defense and stuff involved there too, but, you do kind of build for the end of the year. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yep, and it kind of goes the same way with the A teams and the double A teams. It was A when I was coming up. There was no double A program. It was just A at the time. But we built our teams too, because different animal hitting in Florida, August, September. I mean, you got to have some power, and it was usually the teams that had the most power that could still play defense. That were going to get it done, and
Sure.
Sometimes it even outweighed. The defense played a huge role in it because the teams that couldn't power with you, as long as you were catching it and you weren't giving extra outs, you could hang in games. But the teams that had that power, I mean, I remember there was a couple teams I was on at the World Series, at the A World Series when I was playing. We acted like it was unlimited because if we're hitting our 8, we're probably winning.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And even the year 2011. 54, we won the A World Series, and I'm not sure there's more than one game we hit our limit. I can
Really?
tell you for sure on Sunday on the backfield, runs were a premium. I can only remember 3 or 4 we hit. I know Wayne Havermeal hit one that went over by 6 inches. He came back in the dugout and he said he murdered it. And Wayne had a ton of power. I mean, a ton of power. Kyle Moyer hit one that game. We played R&M in the finals. They almost double dipped us. And I can remember 2 or 3 homers from them, but not many. I mean, it was, again, it's August in Florida. It's hot. You know, there's people falling out. I think Jason Overlag actually went down that game with heat exhaustion in the middle of the game. Yeah, it's the hitting conditions aren't great. That's for sure.
So, you know, you talk about the heat and the variables and all that stuff. So we've had a couple of years here to kind of mess with and see the Classic M versus the Pro M. Like, I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on the Pro M's. Like, kind of what's your thought on that?
I don't mind them. The Classic M seemed like it changed, and I know they've had a little bit of issues with the Pro M's, but for the most part, the Pro M's don't change that I noticed from the daytime to the nighttime as much as the Classic M did. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't change a little bit, and then it goes to this year in Columbus, I think it was, the ball sat in a 100-degree trailer for 3 days. That Wade said it. I think he said that he set the trailer there early, and they were terrible. I mean, awful that whole weekend. I mean, no home runs hit anywhere in Columbus.
Sure.
But for the most part, like the Classic M would change. It would be like hitting rolled up socks during the day to hitting a golf ball at nighttime.
Oh yeah, they get absolutely wild once the sun goes down.
It would change so dramatically, you know. And then for us, you know, we're playing a team that's probably a team or a double A team during the day, and now we're playing Dan Smith at night. So now we can fight through the double A team with a bad ball, but we're playing Dan Smith at night, and we're hitting balls. You know, you got Arjun, and at the time when it was still that, you know, Matusik and Collins, they're hitting balls in Chicago when it's cold and nighttime, 1 million miles an hour through the infield, and we can't see them.
I believe that.
And it's like, you know, I'm looking at Briggs at one point, and I'm like, did that go between us? He's like, it's in the gap. I'm like, I've never seen it. You know, you hear it off the bat, and you're just like, oh my gosh, that thing was murdered.
Yeah.
And again, playing teams like that, like if you get a chance to take an out, you got to take them because they don't come very often. And so I've noticed a little bit with the Pro M with that you don't get those drastic changes. What that ball is when you're playing at noon, it's pretty close to the same thing 7-8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, see, I've kind of noticed that as well. Like it's, you know, it started off the year last year when you know, the Pro-Ms had been around and kind of circulated and everybody had started to hit them. We're hitting them during the day and they're okay. And then we got into the nighttime and they were still okay, but somebody started throwing in Classic M's and man, they left the yard so fast. The next thing you know, everybody's throwing Classic M's in. I think the Pro M is a good balance, like you said, though. It's a consistent ball anyway. I mean, it's still going to change, you know, in the extremes, but at least it's more consistent.
Yeah, and it's new too, so they're going to work out. They're going to keep working it a little bit until they get a more consistent thing, I think too, and they'll figure out because U-Trip's got to store them, right? So they've got to figure out, okay, well they might be stored in heat. Is that going to affect them? You know, they're good at tweaking that, and they'll get it right, and They'll get it as close to something consistent as possible, because that's what you want at the end of the day, right? You want it to be consistent over, you know, your cold weather, your hot, you know, any kind of variable you're going to have.
Absolutely.
So
okay, well, let's segue from talking about some balls to let's talk about some bats. Like, what is, like, if you had to swing one bat for the rest of every bat you take until your arms fall off, what are you swinging?
I like the Rismondos. That's what I've kind of had my best luck with, I guess I should say. 12 and a half, 12 and 3/4 barrel. You know, I've dabbled a little bit in the 12-inch barrel, and, you know, I want some end load in it.
Yeah.
I've been with Easton for, I signed with Brett in what, 2013? So this will be 10 years.
Man,
This
it's
is
been a
9
while,
years
huh?
with Resmond. So this is 9 years. This will be my 9th year on Resmondo. And I signed with Brett the year before that, and then went and played with R&M for 1 year. So yeah, this will be my 10th year swinging Easton in a row, and 9th year with Brett.
It's been a
So
lot
yeah,
of.
I've been with Easton it's been a lot of Easton here, you know, recently. So, and, you know, with my contract, I don't really ever dabble out to swing anything else. You know,
Sure.
it is what it is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and you're allowed to have a favorite bat that's an Easton. Like I said, I mean, it's you know,
yeah,
it's one of those things. You're comfortable with what you're comfortable with.
yep, yep. And it's been the Resmondos over you know, the last, what, 4 or 5 years that they've been out. Obviously it changed from the 220 to the 240, but to me, I haven't. I mean, you notice a little bit, but I know the guys that, you know, I talk to my buddies back here and stuff, that they jump back and forth. They notice the big difference.
Yeah,
And I kind of told myself when they came out with the 240s, I'm like, well, I'm gonna swing 240s, and it doesn't matter if we go play anything else. I'm gonna swing 40s because I
sure.
don't want to go back and forth, right? And be like, oh, the 240s are terrible. Well, yeah, they're terrible compared to a 220. That's probably not really a 220.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Exactly.
it's probably 200. So now you're talking 200 versus 250. Yeah, you're going to notice a big difference.
Absolutely.
So, but even with the 240s playing at the World Series last year, I mean, everything felt fine. We're still having you know, guys still spinning them out of there, you know, still hitting homers, you know, and
A
everything
couple of
like
those
that.
big
So,
innings there. It definitely looked like the ball had no problem getting out of the park.
yeah, well, a lot of them guys, they don't have problems. They get once they get locked in. And guys like Bubba Mack, it doesn't matter if the wind's blowing 900 miles an hour in, out, sideways, up from the ground,
Dude, yeah.
hot, cold.
If he
Yeah,
can reach it and get a swing on it, it's going out.
yeah, throw it in here and let me hit the barrel.
So
So
I heard the rumor years ago that he doesn't take a whole like hardly any BP at all. Is that true?
yeah, he don't take a lot. I mean, I think he takes a little bit at the beginning of the year, you know, obviously to get your eye down. You
Sure.
know, it's a timing thing with him. We tease Bubba all the time because we've only seen him off at about one time, and it was I think it was 18, the conference championship on the backfield at Vieira, and he was about 1 for 25.
Oof.
And I don't know, Bubba's never off it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Never off of it. Yeah, it was 18. Man, we were teasing him about him being off it. And, you know, Bubba, he's kind of, there's not a whole lot of motion either way. And it was just come in, shrug his shoulders, like, I don't know what to do. 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 And he only showed up to the World Series 3 weeks later and won MVP.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's what you
So
do.
that kind of tells you how Bubba is. So
Yeah. Just
I
keep
don't
swinging.
think he's not a guy that takes a lot of BP. Now you turn the page to Travis Clark. Travis Clark hits every day. I mean,
Golly.
that's Travis's routine. I mean, he hits every day, and if he doesn't, he knows he's not good, so that's what he does. Kevin Philby was the same way. Kevin Philby hit every single day. Brian Wegman, another guy. I'm not 100% sure Brian Wegman would swing more than he'd take BP if we had a 3-week layover. He'd maybe hit once.
Really?
Took a lot of BP. Nope.
Huh.
Just didn't do it. He seemed like the more he hit, he would say, you know, obviously guys take BP when they're getting ready for the World Series because swings change, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're on the baseball field, so you're not worried about going backside as much. You're worried about spinning it and doing stuff like that. So people hit a little bit more at the end of the year trying to get ready for the World Series. But even there was one year, Wegs, we were down there and he was like, oh, last year I think I hit too much. And because we usually go in early and we'll watch the AA and we'll hit in the stadium, you know, or on the backfield every night, or, you know, we'll do 2 nights and then take a night off or whatever.
Sure.
And Wegs was like, I think I hit too much last year because he didn't hit as well as he wanted to at the World Series or whatever. So he didn't hit as much and then wore it out again in the World Series. I don't know if that was the case or not, but
It's almost like a routine thing. It's like a mental thing, you know?
Yep. 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 And me and Big John Nelson were talking about that this year because he had a really good World Series for Dan Smith this year. And he came down early with us the year before when he was with us. And he said he thinks he hit too much. He kind of got out of his regular routine and it was maybe just too much, you know? So yeah, it is. It's staying in your routine. I know it's the World Series and you want to press for it, but keep to what's been working all year.
Sure.
You know? So
yeah,
I would be willing to bet that Bubba doesn't hit as much as people would think he does for as well as he hits all the time.
Golly, I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right. Right.
So you're talking about regimens and that kind of thing. Like, what's an off-season regimen look like for you? Like, are you weightlifting? You do weightlifting and stuff, right? You work on eating healthy. To how many? What's your priorities?
So I give myself October off. I don't really, after the World Series, I really don't much. I won't even go to the gym. I won't do nothing. About when November starts, when I start slowly like getting back into the weights. So, and it's, 4 or 5 days a week. Sometimes I'll go on a weekend. If I get bored, I like going to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get bored, I'll just go to the gym. I could be there for an hour and a half, 2 hours,
Nothing wrong with that.
There's just, I don't know. That's probably partially, my roommate Redhart's fault. He's a gym rat too. And so he's kind of pushed me that way. But, so I'll start getting back into it in November. I don't really worry about what I eat much until about this time, about starting in January, seeing where I'm at. Like if I think I'm too heavy or if I've changed a little bit in my weight, I'll clean my diet up. I can usually cut out like soda, or just the sweets part of it. And I can usually change about 10 pounds.
Sure.
Just by cutting out that, just cleaning it up just a little bit, not a whole lot.
Right.
Maybe stop fast food for a couple weeks, when I'm working on the road, just to lose a little bit. But about now is when I start going heavy with the weights. I really start to get after it pretty good.
Sure.
Because, you obviously want to be at your strongest point by the time the season starts.
Right.
The first tournament obviously is important because no matter what you do, you're going to be sore. And then you roll right into the duel, which is
fire away.
Could be 15, 16 games on baseball fields in 4 days. And that's why we always play a tournament before the duel, because if you don't, you'll have guys falling out everywhere.
Sure, yeah, you almost have to, right?
So you almost have to. Yeah. And then I keep pretty much the same routine all year long, all the way even through the Major World Series. Me and Brad get up and work out every day during the World Series.
So you're still training, like, even when that's going on, you're still getting up and training every day?
Yep. We get up and we're at the gym by 9 a.m. Because at the World Series, we play one game Wednesday night. We play 2 games on Thursday. Then we'll play 1 game Friday night and 1 game Saturday night. So it's at nighttime as long as you're in the winner's bracket. So we're at the gym at 9, get our workout in, and we usually go back, eat some lunch, hang out at the fields, go back, rest a little bit, and go get ready to play. But it's just to keep our same routine, right?
Sure.
And we even do that when usually we fly in on Friday to a tournament. We like to go get a little workout in if we can. Not all the time we can, but if we can, we will. We'll go down in the hotel, just throw our little weights around, get a workout in.
Get a
ride on
going,
a plane or, you're traveling. Traveling's terrible. You get there and you're like, oh, I've been in a car, I've been on a plane, I've been in an airport. Just get moving around, just do something. That's why we even try to fly. I try to go in, if I'm going to drive, I'll drive in Thursday night, so that I can get up and get a workout in Friday and then play Friday night. I'm not hopping out of the car, right at 2 hours before game time and then trying to go out there and play.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than that.
Yeah. It's for the birds for sure.
So
that's.
Go ahead.
Really, no. That's I don't change much during the year except for the little month off after the World Series.
Sure. So what you're talking about, BP and weightlifting and doing all this other stuff. Like, obviously being like one of the premier fielders in the game, like, is there anything you do defensively to stay fresh, or is that just kind of, it just comes to you naturally?
I try to play a little bit. You can't really, obviously, you can't emulate games
Sure.
without just playing, right? So for me now, I mean, me taking ground balls, everything, like a lot of our stuff's on turf. So, if I feel like, if I can get my eye down to play, just some fun tournaments before the season starts and even get there, we usually go to Vegas. We'll go in on Tuesday or Wednesday. Tournament don't start till Friday, so we'll hit a couple days before just to get outside and get some BP in, because some of us are coming from cold weather that we can't get outside. So, I'll go in there while people are hitting BP or they're tapping, and I'm like, hey, tap me some ground balls, or, just go in there and watch. I don't want to I'm not going to go in Vegas and let Bubba Mac kill me out there in BP, but sometimes it's good just to stand there and watch him hit lasers by me, just to get my eye down. Okay, yeah, they're still coming 102. But the more you see it, you start recognizing it again. It's not jumping right into a game right off the bat and seeing somebody smack one by you and you expect to catch it. So
sure.
I kind of watch during BP. I'll go stand in there, catch a couple, take some grounders, while they're tapping or something little like that, but nothing real,
no actual drills.
Focus,
you just try and keep yourself moving.
No. Yep. Kind of keep myself moving. Now I will throw leading up to it.
Yeah.
I play a lot of catch before we hit, before the season starts, just to make sure. Again, you can't really prepare to play 6 games without just playing 6 games.
Right.
So you try to get, go to the Dome and play in Wisconsin, or we used to go to the Bash for Cash, or what's the one in Columbus that used to have there, like the Money Ball or whatever. We'd always try to throw some teams together, to do something little like that, just to get outside, just to see regular pitching, just to see some ground balls, just to make some throws, just to do something in a game situation, because you can't emulate not playing in a game, right? That's the main thing.
Yeah. So that was going to be one of my questions was, do you ever take like a week and go travel somewhere, and do you guys all get together and hit or anything like that? But it sounds like you just go play, instead of wasting the weekends doing that, you just go play.
It's funny because we've talked about that numerous times, let's all fly to Vieira and, for a weekend and just take BP and then go play golf and then, just hang out, but everybody's schedule's so busy. It's, you got kids running here and, it never works out. We've said that, 5-6 years, we're doing it next winter. We're going to fly somewhere warm and, just hang out, not play games, but just hang out, take BP. And, because everybody on our team gets along a lot. We all like hanging out with each other. And so we usually go play Toys for Tots. We didn't this year. This is the first year in a long time we didn't play Toys for Tots, but, we'll try to go play some fun tournaments, and whoever can make it can make it. If you can't, no big deal either. Just fun throw together.
Sure.
For us to get together. So but no, it's been talked about. It's been talked about. It's been talked about to go fly, just take BP and hang out. Yes.
Yeah, I get it. The idea is there. But it's the wintertime, it's your downtime to maybe get caught up from running around like a chicken with your head cut off all summer. So, I get that for sure.
Yep.
So, what is, when you're talking about BP and some of the focuses you have, what are some of the main things, drill wise? Do you do any drills, or you just what's your approach in BP that's helped you become a hitter at the top level of the game?
Well, it's for me. It's obviously try to get all the swings down. My biggest thing was learning strike zone. I know people go out and they take BP and I know Damon's probably listening and he gets mad at me all the time because I'm not swinging at every single pitch he throws. But
yeah, they're all good ones if they came out of his hand, right?
It's it's something to get your eye to swing at strikes too. And I'll even look at strikes. I'll go out there and stand there and throw it, and I'll say it in my head, ball, strike, and then I'll watch where it lands. I'm like, oh, I was wrong or I was right. Because you want to swing at strikes during a game. So why would you swing it bad? Why would you swing at every pitch when you're taking BP?
Absolutely.
Obviously you're going to swing at some. I'm hitting a hole. But it drives me nuts when you go hit with somebody and you're like, I wouldn't swing at that in a game. Okay, then why are you swinging it now?
Right.
You're making yourself bad habits now just because it's BP. I'm just going to swing at it. Well, why? Just have it back, or let it go.
Let it go.
If
yeah.
If it was going to be a strike, or if it wasn't. Maybe you were wrong. Maybe you're like, I wouldn't swing at that again, but it was a strike.
That's one
so,
thing.
Like
go ahead.
Little things like that. Because once I learned this, when I first came to the conference and started playing against all the good teams, and the pitchers figure out you'll swing at anything, you won't see strikes.
Right.
They'll throw you something that's close that looks like a strike. That's not a strike. For me, a big step with my hitting was, and I'm nowhere near the Bubba Max, the Travis Clarks, the KPs, the Wegmans, the Connies, like they are. But once I learned the strike zone, it helped me. You see the average go up.
Sure.
The on base goes up. When a pitcher knows you're not going to swing at just anything, it changes for you a lot. So a lot of that is one of my main focuses. Hitting backside, obviously, hitting holes. I have a round where I hit homers. I have a round that I tire myself out, and then I try to hit homers.
Those are good rounds.
Kind of
Those are good rounds. I like doing
later in a tournament, my body styles. I'll take 20 swings as hard as I can, like quick in a row, and then I'll try to hit 5 homers in a row. Trying to tire my body out a little bit, and then still try to make sure I can spin it.
Sure.
So,
absolutely.
Just little stuff like that. But I think swinging that, like the strikes in BP, you get into it with your BP pitcher a little bit, maybe, hey, throw me strikes. Yeah, they're close enough. It's BP, and before games BP and BP during the week is different, right? Before games BP, you're trying to get loose. So, yeah, you're not going to swing at balls that are going to be bouncing and stuff, but we're not working on hitting the backside hole or here. We're getting loose.
Right.
Our stuff during the week is when we're putting in the work of, okay, now I'm going to hit 10 balls down the left field line. I'm going to hit 10 balls to the 6 hole. I'm going to hit 10 balls by the pitcher, and I'm going to swing it. I'm going to swing at strikes.
Yeah, learning.
I'm going to know what the strike zone is.
Learning what you should and shouldn't be swinging at, and like when to swing at it, kind of thing. I really do like, you emphasize in the strike zone. That's some of the things that, like, I tell some of the younger guys that are kind of getting their feet wet with playing and that kind of thing. Yep. It's like, when you come from baseball straight into slow pitch, dude, everything looks like it's coming in the size of a basketball,
Right.
Like if you can reach it, it's like, always give Dustin Ray crap, because one thing he said for years was, if you can reach it, you better have a damn good reason for why you didn't swing at it.
Yeah.
But he's just built different, though.
Yeah, and it changes, obviously, situational, obviously. And that's why I stress with people when you're playing 3-1 with no courtesy, and swing at that 3-1 pitch. Now, say you take a 3-1 pitch, get me over strike. Now, if it's a close pitch, now you have to swing at it, and guess what? You don't have the lines anymore, because now it's got to be fair. So we never get mad at people for swinging 3-0, making it out, because you limit yourself so much by taking a get me over strike versus now what happens with that ball that hits the plate. And I'm not talking like, you can be pickier, obviously, 3-1, and you still want to swing. You always want to swing at strikes. But would you rather swing a ball that's going to hit the tip of the plate on 3-1, or a ball that's going to hit the front of the plate on 3-2?
Right. That
you have to swing at. So now you're reaching for that ball because they look pretty close to the same. You know what I mean?
True.
So swing at 3-1, you try a line. Well, now you don't hit the line. Well, now you come back and now you've got your 3-2 count.
So it's almost like you be very aggressive, selective but aggressive with that 3-1 pitch then.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. And that's the whole, if it's there 3-1, like, and even, when I first started playing, Andy used to throw me 3-1. He'd throw me spinners because I take them, and he knew it.
Yeah, you don't ever throw those.
I'm trying to roll the lineup over, and I can hear Junior saying, "Don't walk him, throw him," because he doesn't want to walk me.
Sure.
And now he's got to face Bryce and Baker and all the guys behind me. So he threw me a 3-1 pitch, and finally, I don't remember. It might have been Bryson or Wags, one of the two. They were like, if he throws you another 4-seam spinner that lands 6 inches behind the plate and you don't swing, I'm like, what? I'm like, you want me to swing at that? And they're like, yeah, I want you to swing at that. Why are you taking that? Now you got to swing at his knuckleball that he's going to make look like a strike. That's not going to be a strike.
True.
You're going to have to take a bad swing and you're going to make it out. He's like, hit the 4-seam spinner.
I mean, he's got a point. Yeah, I guess I never really looked at it from that perspective.
Now I don't get those from Andy anymore. Because once you start swinging at him, now he's like, okay, well, now he's going to swing at him. Now I'm going to throw a knuckleball.
Yeah, right.
But it goes back to the point, like, if somebody's going to – when you got a 3-1 count as a pitcher, the goal is to throw a strike. You don't want to walk people.
Right.
So it's not – they're not trying to, maybe hit an outside corner or maybe drop one in deep or, they're not trying as hard to fool you on a 3-1 pitch as they are to throw a strike.
Right.
So why wouldn't you hit it?
True.
Why wouldn't you hit that pitch? Maybe try a line. Maybe, if they're giving you a big hole, try that hold in. You catch defenders sleeping all the time. Oh, it's 3-1. He's going to walk him again. You catch him sleeping. Now you hit the hole. There you go. Now you roll the lineup over. Now you get the next guy up the bat.
Yeah. As a pitcher, I've for sure been caught sleeping on 3-1. You get some people that'll just go up there. And like you said, I mean, if it looks good to hit it, man, I've been caught with my thumb just like completely up my ass. Just like throw the ball and stand there and wait for the catcher to throw it back. And next thing I know, it's whizzing by my head. It's like, all right, so we're doing this.
Yep. Oh yeah. It's so I try to stress that a lot when I'm talking, especially like, the guys that are coming up and first starting to play in the conference and stuff like that. I'm like, don't take that 3-1. Rusty Baumgartner used to get on me all the time. And even I played with him for 3 years. Brett, the next year, he's with Combat Major Team. And he was catching. We were in Seattle. I remember like it was yesterday. And I took a 3-1 pitch right down the middle, and he took it up. Catcher, as he's throwing it back to his pitcher, he's like, I see you're still taking 3-1 nuts right down the middle, huh? And I was like, I knew he was going to say something. I mean, it hadn't hit behind the plate, and I knew he was going to say something to me about taking it.
Oh, man.
But, yeah.
That's funny.
But he was one that pressed me on it big time, too. Like, stop taking the 3-1 cookie. Hit it. Try a line if you want to, or, that might be the best pitch you see in the thing because they're trying. 9 times out of 10, it's a get me over strike.
Sure.
Borderline, no, take it. It barely clears the plate, or they get a bad deep call because it's 3-1 and the umpire gives it to them. Okay, I get it. You don't want to swing at those. But if you see that get me over tumbler, like I have to say, they try to throw a knuckleball, but they more try to throw a strike, and it's tumbling there, and hit that thing. Don't wait for you to have to hit a pitcher's pitch.
Sure. I know. I'll probably swing at 3-1 for the rest of the year now, just because we've had this conversation.
Yeah. Well, don't blame the outs on me.
Oh, there'd be plenty of those.
Yeah.
So, you can go ahead.
I'm just reiterating, and teammates got to know people aren't trying to make outs, and it's, and it's one thing, again, situation. A guy's walk six people. I'm not saying swinging a 3-1 pitch. It's borderline, like there's certain times for it, but majority of the time, I'm ready. I'm always ready. 3-1. I'm ready to go. I'm not going to take a 3-1 cookie.
You're not standing there with your back between your legs and doing all this dumb shit. You're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm definitely not letting the pitcher know that I'm not swinging if it is an automatic take. I want them.
Give me just a second here. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think my fucking broadcast software just crashed. Maybe not. I don't know. I think we're good to go. Okay. Let's see. Anyway, so you were kind of talking about getting tips and giving tips like the stuff to, when you were, first getting into the conference and that kind of thing, like what is a tip you have for anybody trying to get to the top level? Like what would be like, hey, work on this, work on that. Would it be defense? Would it be hitting? Being a better team player?
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing that I think that people get caught up the most is the numbers game, right? I got to hit 720 or 700 if I play this position. No, you don't. You got to play the game the right way. There's people that'll watch that more than they'll look at, the numbers can lie.
Yeah.
You can, there's people that can go out there and hit 780. Right now, are they gonna help their team because they're gonna hit terrible home runs all the time, or they're gonna make sure their misses are up?
Sure.
They're not gonna make sure their misses are down.
Yeah.
I said before, it's gonna be my 9th year on Resmondo, and I have never hit 700 on Resmondo. Not one time. I've hit 698 and 695 maybe once or twice, but I'm usually right around 670, 680. I've had some 620 years. It's not always about the numbers. I try to pride myself on not hitting bad homers.
Yeah, I know you and I have had that conversation before. When we've been hitting BP is like just trying to take a swing to do anything but hit a ball out. It's not that you can't hit a ball out; it's that you don't want to.
Yeah, right. I know I have an easier time keeping the ball in the yard, Kyle Pearson or Bubba Mack, or the guys that just they miss them out of there easier than I do. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So why, they have to change their swing to try to keep it down, especially when we're out of them, or if we're running low on them at the end of the game. And the least amount of people and times that we can change swings, the better off we're going to be. So if I have to make an out trying to do the right thing, not only does that show my teammate that I care more about the team part of it, but when you do get hits, it makes everything go so much easier.
Sure.
So I think like the playing the game thing is the biggest part, doing the right thing at the plate, making the plays, being a good teammate's part of it. Nobody wants to play with guys that are going to get mad at them when they make errors or when they walk people or when they hit bad home runs. Like nobody wants to play with those guys.
You're right. Yeah. Because that person is aware that they've made a mistake. There's no need to remind them.
Right. And it's, like I said kind of before, nobody's trying to make errors.
Sure.
And it's going to happen, Nobody hits 1,000. Nobody catches everything,
I mean, some people think they do. Some people think they hit 1,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's just
rolling one into the other. This is a really good question I actually had. And we haven't really touched on a lot. What is some advice you would give someone just trying to start to learn how to play like the middle infield? Like we've all seen, you go to just about any D&E tournament and you see the middleman just standing there with his glove on his hip right behind the pitcher, like standing on the bag almost. Like,
yeah,
like you're not getting anything done. Like what's like the, if you had to give someone a crash course, what's it going to be?
So communications is the biggest thing, playing the middle, because you got to let your shortstop know and your second baseman know which side you're going to be on. Or in my case, like I like to say, what side I'm going to end up on, because I move a lot, and everybody kind of has to take it. The middle's kind of a unique spot that you can play it. I play it totally different than Lewis plays it, and I play it totally different than, a lot of other people play it. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. It's kind of what works for, Lewis is great at it. He plays it great, I think. There's been other guys. Matt Peso played it great. When Bryson had played it and when Dennis Rulli played it, they didn't move as much as I did. But but it worked for them.
Sure.
So you kind of want to take it into yourself, but communication is the key, right? So Travis makes all the calls, no matter what. Travis and I will argue in the dugout sometimes if I think I was right and he thinks he's right. But at the end of the day, it's his call, And we've been doing it for 8 years now, so we kind of know each other and what we're thinking anyways with that aspect of it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, he's the one that's got to back into a pull swing if he wants to play me backside. So that's going to be his call.
Right.
I'm not telling him, no, I'm playing backside when Collins is up and he knows he's about to get his doors blown in on his pull side.
Right.
You know, because then he's going to be like, thanks for getting me killed type deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Communication's big in that, and the middle guy doesn't work if the second baseman doesn't know where he's going to be, or the shortstop doesn't know where he's going to be. You know, because they've got to adjust to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, they got to either move over more, or you know, and there's guys I'll shade the middle more that I know hit the middle more, and there's guys I won't. You know, it kind of varies. You know.
Sure, and your pitcher's usually trying to feed. Your pitcher's usually trying to feed you too, right?
Yep. And the pitcher's trying to play, or we have times where, Travis has got a couple guys he wants me on a certain side, and he'll feed it that way. And he wants the guy to go away from me because he don't like going that way anyway. Mm-hmm. So he'll want to show him a hole over there. He'll want to show him the hole over there and make him try to hit it over there because he knows he doesn't like doing it.
Yeah, make him.
And he'll tell me, don't move. You know, yeah. I want this guy to see something and try to hit it there.
Yeah, make him do something he's not accustomed to doing. If he gets a hit, you tip your hat and go on.
Right. And again, at the end of the day, it's coming in underhanded. So the more times you can try to get, you know, my goal when I first started playing, and the younger I was, the more I moved around. But my goal when I moved so much, when I used to move, and it used to drive, I think, Junior crazy because he'd stand there in the box while I was moving around and wouldn't say play because he wanted to see how long it would take me for me to stop. And he told me that before. He's like, well, you wouldn't stop, so I had to say, let's go. But, you know, my goal, that's winning, right?
Yeah.
I'm more worried about where I am than focusing on getting a hit. Yeah, he's still a 750 hitter, and he's still going to get a hit 7 out of 10 times. But if I can just make him worry about me, hey.
You won.
That's all I wanted. You know, I want people to think, you know, my goal was always like, man, you know, when they get in the box, like, man, where's Bazat going to end up? Or where is he going to be? Or why is he moving over that way? Or why is he trying to talk to them? Or why is he telling, you know, his shortstop this?
Right.
To me, that's like, I'm playing mind games, so now I got you thinking.
Absolutely.
You know, it might work, it might not, but me standing there is not going to work.
Sure.
You know, so that's why I'm always, and again, the communication part of, hey, you know, I might tell, you know, last year was Briggs, you know, this year it'll be Marshburn, but it was more like, hey, Briggs, cheat more of the 6, or, you know, I'm going to come with you a little more. We're going to leave the middle open, or I'm leaving you the middle. You know, I'm leaving hard. I'm going to end up over the bag. You got to cheat with me and bring Bubba with you, you know, or there's been times that I've told both of them, like, Briggs, you got to act like you're by yourself. Connie, you act like you're by yourself. I'm going with the pitch. Travis is having trouble throwing strikes. The wind's blowing 90 miles an hour. I'm going to kind of float in the middle as the ball floats outside. I might cheat the middle, you know, here and there. And then Travis can yell at me when I floated outside the ball and they pulled it in the other hole. And he looks at me and he's like, where'd you go? I'm like, I floated the pitch. My bad.
You're right.
You know, Rec tried to kill me in, where were we last year? Myrtle Beach. Rec was pitching. Travis wasn't there. And he loves telling the story. But I don't remember what happened. I think a guy hit it backside. I don't even remember who it was. Somebody hit it backside the time before that. He came up the second time, and Rec looked at me and he was like, pointed, and he was like, go second base side. I'm like, all right. So I started to kind of go over to the second base side, and I stopped pretty much dead in the middle. And the guy hit it right where he wanted me to be. And I caught the ball coming back inside, and I mean, we're in the middle of one of those innings that we can't get it out.
Yeah. You
know, I mean, everywhere they hit it, it's right off the tip of a glove, or, you know, right in a gap, and we're trying so hard to get outs, and he's getting so mad, and I can see the fire coming out from his helmet. And he's walking towards me, and the veins popping out in his head, and he's like, did you not fucking hear me? And I was like, yeah, I heard you. My bad. I didn't go. I thought he was going to take his mask off and kill me. I'm like, yeah, that's my bad. That's me. I didn't go far enough. He got back in the dugout. He took his helmet off and he was like, I'm so mad at you. I was like, yeah, I know. I was like, we'll talk about it when we get back to the room. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I didn't go far enough.
Oh, man, that's funny.
It happens, right?
Sure.
He's trying to get out, and oh man, it wasn't good for me at the time. And then you can't get the next out quick enough. You're like, every time they get a hit, you're like, oh,
yeah. That guy scores, and it's like, God damn, did we hear that?
yeah. I'm never gonna hear the end of this.
Yeah. But see, that's kind of the good thing though when it comes to like having a good working relationship, like you two, you know, like yeah, you're frustrated with each other in the moment, but like you can put it past you. You move on. Like you see the guys that want to just argue and get mad and melt down and come in and point fingers and like you're not going to get anywhere doing that. Like I understand that you two weren't on the same page, but like instead of arguing with each other, have a conversation about how to stay on the same page or get on the same page and stay there, you know?
And there's, it's gotten to the point in our dugout a couple of times we've argued who made the mistake. You know, no, that was my fault. No, that was my fault. No, I should have won more. Yeah, but I told you the last time. You know, me and Travis have had that before. Sometimes and Brett's like, "Gosh dang, man, who cares? You both fucked up. Like, why are you arguing about who? You know." But that's how we like on our team. Nobody tries to blame anybody else. It's like, you know, hey, we fucked up. You know. Yeah. I'll be the first one to come in after an error or after, you know, somebody did something wrong. Like, man, fuck, those 5 runs are mine. Pick me up. Somebody pick me up.
Sure.
You know, help me out. You know, or even after, you know, same thing goes at the plate. You know, it drives me crazy when somebody makes an out and they come back in and they throw their bat, and they throw their gloves, and you know all that stuff. And it's like,
dude, no,
man,
you can't do
we
that.
know we know you didn't try to make an out, but guess what happens? Turn around and tell the next guy, pick me up. You know, and we stress that a lot. You know, not bunching outs. You know, when you make an out, the next guy's got to focus harder, right? Next guy now has to get a hit, and the next guy's got to get a hit. You know, you can't bunching outs and getting because you got to score every inning. You know, to win games, you gotta score.
Yeah.
So the more you bunch outs, you know, the harder it is to obviously score. So the guy behind whoever makes an out, and we kind of break our lineup in threes. This is something Wags and them did a while back. It's like, so our top 3 guys have to go 2 for 3. Okay. Right? No matter how it falls. So if Bryson's our leadoff hitter and he makes the last out, now Wags and KP, they have to get hits to start the next inning because they got to go 2 for 3.
Right.
You know, so when it comes that time, so now if Bryson gets a hit and Wags makes the second out, KP's got to get a hit. That no matter how those threes fall, we try to break them down in threes. You got to go 2 for 3 in that threes.
Even so if you're especially if you the first 2 guys making out in front of you, you're doing literally whatever you can to get on base. Is that kind of what you're saying?
To get on base, correct. And the next guy's got to get a hit behind him because now you've rolled the two out of 3 over into the next guy because the first 2 guys made outs.
Right.
So you got to at least get because 8-9 times out of 10, a 2 for 3, you're going to score a run in softball.
True.
You know, it's going to be it could be a home run, it could be a 2-run homer, or you know, a guy's going to go first to third. You know, there's going to be a double. You know, whatever. 2 for 3, you're usually getting a run out of. So you're keeping your track of scoring every inning.
Sure, I like that. I like that ideology of 2 for 3. Like if especially if the first 2 guys don't, you like literally if you haven't walked all year,
next 3, right? You know, the next 3 pretty much got to get a hit.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to score.
Right.
You know, and if that first guy gets a hit, so now you got a guy on first with 2 outs, you're probably, depending on the situation, but you know, if it's late and you're low on homers, you're probably hitting a 2-run homer in that situation, right? Because you're trying to give yourself 2 runs.
Yeah.
Because again,
you got to scratch.
You don't want to goose egg. You want to score. You want the other team to look out on the scoreboard and be like, 2, 4. I mean, they're scoring every inning. We have to keep scoring to stay with them. We got to keep the pressure. You know, you got to keep the pressure on them.
Sure.
So, I don't know. We get off topic there.
No, yeah, no. It's okay. It's what it's all about. You know, we just kind of like wander and let it go everywhere it can. Just circling back, though. So like when it comes to playing middle, you're just saying communication is the biggest thing, and like knowing where to position
Yep.
yourself. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing with me. At least obviously nowhere near the experience or anything, but like you have to listen to what your pitcher's telling you. Like
Correct.
it's one of those deals. Like, listen, dude, I've looked at some of these young kids before and said, if I tell you to go stand on your glove and wave your hands in the air while the guy's hitting, go fucking do it. Like,
yeah, and it's not. Travis has never been with me like, go do this, And if I have a question, and like I said, Travis and I have been playing. This is 8 years we've been playing together with Resmondo, and now, the USA stuff and the fun stuff we go play and all that kind of stuff. Like we've got the relationship that if I think something different than him, we'll talk each other through it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, why are we doing this all of a sudden? Or why didn't we do this? And he don't take it as, like, what are you, you think I'm wrong? It's not a right or wrong thing.
Yeah.
This was my reasoning behind it. I thought he was going to go hard and I didn't want to get killed. Cool. Good enough. Like, fine with me, because like I said, at the end of the day, he's got to back into a pull swing if he puts me backside.
Sure. And it's kind of one of those things too. You get to a certain point where like one knows what the other's doing without really communicating it even, right?
Yeah. And then again, you'll see me, and it doesn't happen often, but I'll stop mid pitch sometimes and call time and be like, hey, if I missed Travis's sign and I was talking to Connie or I was talking to Briggs and I missed where he wanted me, or, because you got to take outs when you get a chance.
Sure.
The higher up you go, the more outs are at a premium, right? Because the lineups they get tougher. So, and the more chances you give a team, I remember when I first came up, I think it was with TaylorMade. We were playing Resmondo. I never thought we were going to get out of this inning. Never. If I had to guess, I bet they scored 35 in one inning.
God.
I mean, it just never stopped, and then you start getting that. So then you start getting grumpy. You're like, man, what are we getting out? Why didn't so-and-so make the play? We've been out of this inning already. And now you're mad, and now you're not doing that. So I've had innings where I've stopped Travis. I'm like, whoa, I missed you. Like, where did you want me here? Okay. Now I need to tell Connie I'm over here. Whether Connie likes it or not, it is what it is.
Sure.
Or whether Briggs thinks this and that, we'll talk about it later. We lose the game because of a couple of plays, we'll talk about it. We got no problem talking about it. But everybody's got to know, because if everybody's not on the same page, it don't work.
Right.
You'll get exposed real quick, because holes will be big and nobody's filling them.
Right.
If one person moves and the other person doesn't, then you look like you don't know what you're doing and they don't know, vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's the communication is huge. Everybody has to know what everybody's doing for it to work, and it's gotta originate from the pitcher and the middle guy. If he's gonna be moving, he's got to let both the other guys know, and
Sure.
They in turn got to tell people that are next to them. So Connie's got to tell KP, hey, we're by ourselves. Got to cover more room.
Yeah.
Because we tell KP at the major, lefties or even righties that go there, because a lot of people go there, you can't reach it, you go to the bag.
Yeah.
I don't want you taking 2 steps to your right. I want you diving for a ball that is a little bit out of your reach, because Connie's in your hip pocket back there. So if you can't reach it, just go to the bag. Connie will get it. And if not, okay, it's a hit, or then we'll adjust.
Right.
So, just the whole communication part of everybody knows where everybody is, where everybody's around, where everybody's going to be.
Right.
That's why I always say it's not so much which side I'm going to start on. It's where kind of an area where I'm going to be.
Right.
At the end.
So you talk about like setting yourself up for certain hitters and everybody's talking and everything. Who is that one guy that comes to the plate and you just think to yourself like, fuck me running, where's he going to hit it this time?
Man, there's been some over the career. Connie was so tough when I played against him. He was He was good at moving it around. Wags, when I first started playing with Wags, I could never read Scott Kirby. He had some of the fastest hands. He'd pull balls that you'd think he'd push, pull all over the place. You know, Bryson hits it wherever he wants. It doesn't matter. He's a stone cold hitter.
Yeah, Bryson. Really yeah, Bryson is ridiculous.
Yeah, Ruli's a professional hitter. But then you got your guys too, like when I first started playing, Jeff Wallace and Rusty and Brett Helmer and those guys that they didn't, you know, Harvey's that way now. You know, Greiner's almost that way now. You got your guys that just, they don't care where you're at. They're just going to blow your doors in. I mean,
right.
you can be there or not. You know, they don't care.
Right.
In a general direction and basically saying good luck. If you can catch it, you can catch it. If not, you better watch out because it's coming.
Yeah, and see that's always fun to kind of obviously fun from our perspective, you know, to watch guys like that hit. But man, it's got to feel. I've seen some of the balls that those guys hit, and I think to myself like that somebody's dying at like even the sea level with some of that stuff. It's wild.
They come and they get on you in a hurry. And it's almost to the point some of them are like, you're either going to catch it or you're going to wear it, so you might as well try to catch it.
I mean, you're right.
So, I mean, it's changed a little bit now with the bats and balls are a little bit different. I mean, it seemed like when I first started playing, we played a lot more stuff on 300s, and of course, Classic M, you know, 220 bats at the time.
Right.
You know, the game's changed a little bit, and maybe it's just because I've seen it for so long too. It seems like it's slowed down for me. I remember I got picked up in 2008 by a team out of Chicago halfway through the year, and that was my first. I finished that year. That was my first like half year in the conference, and I brought my little 11 3/4 glove with me from playing with local. I remember the coach looking at me, and he was some little short guy, Dan Quilley from Chicago, and he was feisty, and he was like, "You're going to need a bigger glove," and I was like, "All right, man, yeah, like, okay,
yeah,
I'm not going to need a bigger glove."
Don't tell me what to do.
But whatever, you know, just can you watch me play first? Like, you know, you watch me play before you tell me I need a bigger glove. And Jeff Wallace hit a ball. He might have hit two balls to me that weekend. That they got to my glove, but there was no way I was keeping them in my glove. I mean, I think one of them almost took my glove off, and I had a bruise in the palm of my hand for 3 weeks. I mean, he hit it so he spun it so hard and hit it so hard that you couldn't keep it in that little glove. And I told him after the end of the weekend, I was like, "Quilly, you know where I can order a bigger glove?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You need one?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need a bigger glove."
You're right.
You were right.
So that's a good question. Though, like, a good question, a good topic. Like, so what size glove do you use?
I use a 13.5.
Okay. So
I went actually that I went to a 13, and then I went to a 13.5 when I started playing major.
Okay.
So 6 years of 13, and I don't know what made me switch to a 13.5, but I did, and I actually ordered myself a 13 last year or the year before, and I felt like I was using a kid's glove again. I don't know why. It's only a half inch, but I'm like, nah, I need a 13.5. So I went back to a 13.5. I don't know. I like just use it, kind of mess around, but yeah, 13.5 is what it's been.
See, that's interesting because, you know, you see, like we've seen watching here at home, you see some of these guys. Who was it? Santana. Yep. Dude, he came running in one time, like he had his arms to his side. Dude, I swear his glove was dragging the ground.
Yeah. The outfielder ones get big. Nick uses a big one. Brian Rainwater, we used to laugh at him because Worth made this. I don't remember what Worth called it, but it was a glove, and we were sitting down at the Dudley. I remember it perfectly. We were sitting down at the Dudley, and we were watching him play. He was playing with Rismondo. Brian just went into the Hall of Fame last year or the year before or whatever. Great player, great outfielder. think he played baseball at Georgia.
Okay.
But he hammered it and played outfield, ran like a deer. But he had this Worth glove, and Worth made it, and it had a name, but it was 17 inches long.
Holy shit!
It was ginormous. I mean, it was the biggest thing ever. And you see him running the outfield with it, you're like, it's scraping the ground. It's so big.
Well,
and we talked to him afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know. They made this glove, and it's so big, I can't even find the ball in there."
Well, see, I know they made that. Was it the BFG or whatever it was they made? It was a pretty big glove.
Yeah.
I can't remember how big that one was,
Yeah.
but I didn't know they ever made one any bigger. That's wild.
It was ginormous. Ginormous. But yeah, I've been a 13.5 guy, and I don't know. It's just I'm an infielder, I guess. I'm picky about my gloves, but.
So is that pretty much a standard size, or is it still kind of mix and match? Like, do some people still use the shorter gloves, or?
There's some of them. Like Lewis has always used a small glove, but it works for Lewis. You know,
Yeah.
He catches everything, so why not, right?
Yeah, right.
But you know, I would say 13. You know, majority of guys are 13 and a half. A lot of your outfielders are 13 and a half, 14. So, you know, I would say probably majority of them are 13 and a half. And then you've got your some that are 13, you know, and your some that are a little bit bigger. But
yeah,
I'd say majority of the infielders are probably 13 and a half.
Interesting.
Yep.
So I always wondered about that, you know, always suggesting like a 12 3/4 or things like that. But, you know, it's just one of those things you don't see unless you ask. I guess I just didn't realize like how many people do wear the bigger gloves at that level. And somebody did ask, and we do have to clarify. You're wearing an Easton glove, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Gotta be.
Yeah. Yeah. So that my thing with the bigger glove when I first switched that I noticed the biggest is a lot of people spin softballs, right? So you spin them to hit them out.
Sure.
Well, when you miss them down, they hit them, they still spin. So there's just spin in the other direction. So with the bigger pocket, as it goes to you, it allows the ball to spin, but not spin out.
Ah, okay.
So you'll feel it still spinning in your glove, but you still catch it because it gives the pocket big enough, more room to spin it. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay, that makes. I mean, it does make sense.
That's just kind of something that I kind of stuck with. I mean, and every once in a while you get the guys that spin them, you know, and the guys that hit them down, and even the balls that are knuckling and stuff like that, they'll move a little bit. It gives you that little extra pocket just for air, you know.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more room to let the ball move. I feel like the ball, to me, moves more when somebody hits it in softball versus when it did in baseball.
Oh, 100%. You get all kinds of tails and spins and all kinds of funky stuff.
Right. So that was my purpose of it.
Sure. So we'll change the gears here just a little bit. We'll get finished up here in just a minute. I want to keep you all night. I know it's 10:30 already.
No rush to me.
So what is your favorite non-conference event to attend? I know we kind of talked about some of those earlier.
Non-conference. Man, I played in the Kentucky tournament last year. That was a blast. So if anybody we went to the Southern in Kentucky. We took most of our team up there. I think Spencer
went with you, right? And that was one Spencer went to you with?
Yep.
Yeah.
Spencer went with us. Yep. So it's an unlimited home run tournament. It was fun. I have a blast at the Dells in the wintertime.
Okay.
So the Dells, kind of like the Lake of the Ozarks for the guys around here.
Okay.
They have an indoor football field, and it's like the Bubble Dome, and they'll start games Friday night, Friday morning, and they play every 40 minutes until Sunday night.
Oh,
they have like four or five different divisions going on. It's kind of ran by the Comatose B team they're A now.
Yeah.
Out of Wisconsin, which is an S2N team. So, you know, they have the tent set up there, and it's bang it off the dome. There's a mat that looks like the size of Texas. It's one pitch. You catch it off the dome, you're out. I mean, it's just a blast, and it's in the wintertime. And it runs, like I said, 24/7. It's softball.
Games every 40 minutes.
We go every 40 minutes.
That's wild.
Yep. And there's a big hotel with the water park right there, 2 minutes away.
Really?
There's the strip there's a strip that's 5 minutes away. That's got all the bars. Everybody goes out and hangs out and drinks at. They have a super draft there that I pulled Damon and Reed from here. Spencer went this year, that we always go up to. That, the super draft, you get, I play, Rec plays, Moshburn played this year. Connie's came and played it. J-Max came and played it. So we get some big guys that come in to play. They give away some S2N gear and stuff like that. But that's a fun one. If you like going and doing something in the wintertime when there's nothing else to do, come up to the Dome. It's a blast. Like I said, I mean, we have our good time, and you get some softball in too. You get to hang out. It's fun.
Yeah, Damon said it was a lot of fun. I talked to him. I think you guys had just gotten back. Man, he said he had a blast up there.
Yeah. I'll go every year. We used to go twice a year, but I'll go at least once every year now. We used to play the super draft, and then they had an open. But you don't beat the comatose guys in the open because they know how to hit it off the Dome. They know how to catch it off the Dome.
Yeah, it's like home field advantage, right?
It's unreal. I've never seen a team play so good in the Dome as they do every year. And they make me mad because they beat us every year. But no, it's a good time. It's fun.
Sure.
So I like Palm Springs, Toys for Tots in the wintertime too.
That's a really popular
one. California in December. Yeah. Who doesn't like going to California in December?
You're right.
So that's a good one. They do toys for the soldiers, the Toys for Tots, obviously, which is cool. So we always go to Walmart or whatever and buy a bunch of toys and drop them off there. So and they get a lot of teams. So that's a fun one. And you get together with the guys. Sponsors like to kind of help out with that one during the year.
Sure, and
to get everybody together.
Yeah, it's kind of what you were talking about with maybe like you not necessarily like everybody gets together and goes and hangs out, but everybody gets together and goes to play softball in the off season.
Yep. So that's a fun one. I'm trying to think. I have never been to the Tripper Off. I've heard a lot of good things about that one.
I see a lot about that.
Yeah, that they said that one's a fun one. The Snowball in Denison is a blast. Takes about a week to recover from, but it is a blast. It's another one, unlimited home run tournament outside, and it's hit or miss with weather. It's usually pretty nice sometimes during the day. It gets cold at night. The balls fly.
Oof.
And it's, like I said, it's unlimited. And there's some good teams that they have, and it's an all-nighter. So there's not a lot of sleep that goes on there.
Lots of soda pops and not very much sleep. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sitting out by the fire with soda pops and stuff like that. No, it's the exact opposite. It's a week recovery time.
Golly.
From Denison Snowball, at least. And if you're with Jay Hall, maybe 2 weeks.
I've heard that about him.
He won't let you go to bed. Never happens. So
I've heard he likes to enjoy himself.
Yeah,
I
had to run and hide from him. He's like, "Where did you go?" I'm like, "I'm not telling you because you couldn't find me."
Yeah, new phone. Who
but
this?
I got some sleep. Yeah, I got some sleep finally. So no, that's a blast. That's a fun one too. Trying to think what else I played in the. We used to go to the Bash for Cash in Cincinnati, which was always terrible because it's still cold in Cincinnati in March.
You're not really upgrading. You're leaving here to go there.
Right. But everybody got together. It used to get a ton of teams. I don't know if they still do it or not. It's there at Weggs Park. But we used to always play in that one early. It was usually a couple weeks before Vegas.
Gotcha. Which
it's good seeing everybody getting out, having a little fun before, everything gets super serious, right?
Absolutely.
So that was one I used to enjoy besides the cold.
Yeah.
And Weggs Park, so it's 300. So you get your games get behind, and you're playing winners bracket final at 3:00 in the morning Saturday night. Oof. Everybody's still there, hammered, drunk, and it's cold, and you're wet. You just want to go home.
Right? Yeah. It's kind of one of those like you get drunk and then you sober up and then you're cold and you're miserable.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Definitely been there. So you talk about these unlimited tournaments. Like, what's the most at bats you've ever had? Like. In a game, I'm sure it's like have to specific number. We're like, what's like this is like getting out of hand. Like maybe like in a game or a tournament.
I get the least amount because I'm right.
Okay, true.
So there's been some smoky games that people get 9 and 10 at bats.
God.
2014, my first year with Brett. Might have been my second year. One of the years we lost our second game. We lost our second game. First game Saturday morning in Cincinnati with like 60 teams.
Oof.
Yeah. Got beat by Bob Hortonback's B team. They wore us out. I mean, just hit every hole. Just one of those games like I said, we couldn't find an out. We couldn't do anything wrong and we couldn't do anything right. We had to go over to the other park. Brett let us know how bad we were. But we went over to the other park. We had to win 2 games over there to come back to the main park. I think we took, I could be wrong, we might have got beat first championship game, or we took Mondo at the time, which was Andy and Junior and them. We took them to the if game. But I want to say Wegs was something stupid, like it was like 62 for 65 or something like that, and he only hit 7 homers.
Lord.
Yeah. It was one of the most impressive weekends I'd seen.
I think my arms would be ready to fall off.
Still had seen.
He
was hitting.
It played the outfield that weekend,
balls.
right?
Oh yeah, played left field.
God.
He was hitting balls, hitting 6 inches inside the fair line with a strike, laughing. He knew it was going to be fair, and it landed right on the line. And I'm like, half of that. Can I have half of what you're in right now?
You're right, yeah.
Because he is just, 7 home runs and 62 at bats or whatever it was. I'm sure you can look it up, but I know it was in the 60s, and he didn't make hardly any outs at all.
Golly.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, but the weekends that you lose early and get a good run, I want to say that year we did that 3 or 4 times. We almost got 400 or 500 at bats that year. We were notorious for not being able to get through the second game. First game Saturday morning, we lost all the time, and then would be miserable running back through the losers bracket, to get to the championship against Andy and them that are fresh, and we're trying to beat them, and it's hard enough beating them when you're fresh, let alone after playing 7 games in a row.
Right.
But there's a lot of times that happened that year.
So like what keeps you motivated when you're going through shit like that? Like you just got like are you looking like down the bracket thinking like if we can just get here we get a break, or are you taking it a game at a time?
You kind of look ahead a little bit. You try not to, but you catch yourself doing it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're going to have to go through this, or who's going to fall to us here? We're going to get the loser of this game. It could be bad or it could be good. At the big ones like the Smokies this year, we lost early, and then it rained and we had to play all night. The Smokies is the greatest place on earth. It is the mecca of all softball.
I've heard more than one person say that.
It's unreal. I get chills thinking about walking into that place. I get super big chills walking into that place. With the history, it's 50, 60 years old.
Right.
54 years. I keep they give you the little wooden baseball bats that you get when you're little, that mom and dad take away that you're swinging in the house.
Yeah, you're hitting your brother or your sister with, yeah.
Yeah, so they give those away every year. Every single one of them hanging up in my office.
Really?
So my first year was the 40th annual, and now we're down to 53, But it's just the stuff that, to hear the older guys, and I'm one of the older guys now, but like the Brett Helmers and even the Mike Masenko that came with us this year about what that place used to be and what it's always been. It's always been the one that's unlimited homers. It's always like the field kind of sits down in a bowl. The announcers, the fans that go there will follow the conference all year long. They know who's doing what when you get there, when they're sitting out there in their lawn chair. You have no idea who they are. I'm going to check my bat 3 years ago, and a guy stops me and starts talking to me. He's like, man, you guys had a rough one in Chicago, but you turned it back on here. And I'm like, I've never talked to this guy in my life. He knows everything about our team. He's telling me what I'm hitting on a year. I'm like,
you don't even know.
It's they take it that serious down there. I mean, people will show up and sit out in their lawn chairs all day long.
Yeah, it's the environment. It's the environment that makes stuff like that fun.
And they love it. And it's like I said, it's to me now when you walk into that place, you're like, oh, I'm at the Smokies. You know, it always gets the little star on your schedule. Like, can't wait for the Smokies.
That's really cool.
There's no place like it.
I've always told myself, like, just like make the drive down there and just like watch even just Saturday's games.
Yep.
It's like especially like when you get Saturday night, like that's always when the slugfest happened, is Saturday night.
Yep.
So maybe that would be maybe we'll
Saturday
do that.
night when I was I got up on a major team and I was playing A. Saturday night, all the teams as you get knocked out, congregating on the hill with their coolers, and everybody's starting to get super hammered and watching the games, and you know, it just the crowd is good. Softball's obviously great, you know, and it's hard to like for softball. It doesn't get any better.
Sure.
You know, it's great. Yeah, anybody that got a chance to go or play in it. Yeah.
So you got all the big teams there. You got all the good hitters. Like what's like the one hitter, like if you're walking past the fields, like you got to stop and like you stop what you're doing to like watch his swing and then you go on with what you're doing. Who would that be?
That down there or just anywhere?
In general.
In general, I don't know. There's so many good hitters now.
That is true.
And everybody has their own little. You're wanting to watch guys hit balls 900 feet. You know, Bubba Mack hits it as far as anybody in the country. You know, Harvey hits it just as far as anybody in the country. Collins hits it a mile. You know, those guys hit it a mile. Big John Williams hits it a mile.
Oh yeah.
You know, Riley's one of the best hitters in the country. Travis Clark hits it a mile. They can hit it down. You know, Flip Washington, great hitter. You know, led the conference in hitting last year.
Yeah.
I mean, great hitter. I mean, they're all over the place. You could, I mean, being a fan of softball, you could sit down in a tournament like that, and everybody works at it nowadays. I mean, when I first came and started playing on a major team, you know, you get your Friday and your Saturday games where 99% of the time you're probably going to win, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you mess up big time. You know, second game sometimes get you, but the Friday night games, you're not losing. We lose Friday night games now. It seems like all these teams, everybody's got so much better. Like you can't take anybody lightly anymore. You can't do it.
The game is definitely evolving in that regard.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what drives me in it so much, because it's competitive, but it's you know, it's enjoyable being competitive with it.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what's the future of the game look like, you know, 10 years from now with, you know, you got, it's a really, not that it wasn't, you know, years ago, but like these last few years, it's been really prevalent, like guys with like professional baseball backgrounds making their way into, you know, into the sport. Like, what's the future of the game look like, with like, you know, the associations and like that kind of thing? Like, what do you think is going to happen with all that?
It's going in the right direction. I mean, there's the younger guys that are coming in, you know, heck, Bradley Jones ain't even 30 yet.
Dude.
You know, Tyler Marshman's not even 30 yet. You know, Bradley Jones, I've told him 100 times, man, when you learn the strike zone, it's going to be scary, because he hits every pitch right now, and he murders it, every pitch.
Fastest hands in the conference, no question.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be really, really, really good.
He sticks it pretty good.
You know, Mossburn the same way with us this year. You know, Phil Matt's led the World Series in home runs 2 years in a row, and he came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and he's
he
still
clubs
young.
it good.
I mean, he hammers it. You know, there's a lot of really good. I played that Southern with the Justin Gregory guy. He got picked up by Smash this year. He hammers it. Good player. You know, there's a lot of guys that are playing on major teams or playing on really, really good AA teams that aren't even 30 yet, or
Right.
just barely 30. I mean, KP's barely, I don't even know, what, 31, 32?
He's young.
Seems like he's been around forever already.
Right.
You know, I mean, it seems like majority of our team is right around 33, 34. I mean, Bubba Mac's still young. He's been around forever. He's not even 40 yet. He's not even 37, 38. I think he's 34, 35.
Really, I didn't realize he was that young. I knew he's been around since I started like playing and following. Yeah. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, Connie will be finally 40 this year. Travis 38.
Man, you're gonna get in trouble telling everybody's ages on here.
I don't care. They get mad at me all that. You know, I mean, but that's just saying, like, they're like, you know, it's. I mean, our team's young. I mean, I'm 41. I'm the oldest guy on our team now. And everybody else, it takes a drop off after me wrecking Connie. Which is good for us.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like all the young people and I think you're right. I think it's good for the game, as long as they're, like you said earlier, you know, playing the game the right way and doing that kind of thing. Because, man, social media has got things. I'm not going to get like too much of a soapbox here, but social media has got things in like a really weird, like, you look at me, look what I can do kind of thing. And like, man, when you get to softball players that kind of start doing that stuff, man, things get weird. And it's
it does.
You got all these young kids coming up and trying to play the game the right way, like you said. Like, are they worried about playing the game the right way or making another clip on Instagram?
And it is. Today's age, right? Everything's social media.
Yeah.
This, you know, I signed a contract. I did this. And I've told some of my younger guys, I'm like, don't get caught up in the game. Don't get caught up in, I'm getting paid this much money. And because if you are lying to make yourself look good and people in the conference find out about it,
yeah,
that's going to be you for the rest of your career.
Yep.
And they're going to wear you out. It's going to be so miserable you're not going to play. You know, and you don't want to. I always told myself I'll be done playing the conference when I leave on the weekends, and I'm not enjoying myself.
Sure.
Because I won't do it. You know, if I'm going to go away, I'm going to at least enjoy myself. You know,
100%.
That's me. And if people find out you're that guy, you will always be that guy, and they will wear you out.
See, and that's the thing
how good you are, no matter what you've done.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't matter what you've done. You're there. Like, why should I? Like, it's not that I don't care, but why should I care? You know, where you played baseball at, or you know who you did this with, or who you did that with. Like, you're here, you're there, you're at the top of the game. Like, you don't have to prove yourself; you're already here. I don't understand why people get in that mentality.
Yeah, for some reason it's Louisville's paying me this, or Easton's paying me this, or why? Why does it matter?
Right.
You know, I don't care. I don't care if Brett Helmer pays $100,000. That's between them.
Yeah. Well,
I don't care what anybody on my team makes.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you.
Why would I care that Kyle Pearson makes more money than me playing softball?
Right.
You know, why would I care that? Who cares? I'm here too.
Sure.
We're doing the same thing. We're on the same team. You know, if that's what it takes for KP to be on my team, okay, cool. I'm happy for him. You know, but KP also doesn't come around and be like, I'm making more than Bazat. You know, there's our guys aren't like that. You know, and that's
the day and age that's coming, though. That's the day and age that's coming.
And they're like, I know. You know, it's like, oh, I need to make, you know, this and this and that, you know, or whatever. Like, you know, if I get on a major team, I got to make $60,000 a year.
Yeah, and it's we don't even have to get down the road of like the dollar amounts that have been thrown around with Josh Riley's name this winter. We don't even have to get into that, but that sets the precedent for what everybody's going to expect.
Yeah, it is.
Social media is to blame for that.
Yeah, and again, if Josh Riley gets all the money he was promised, good for Josh Riley.
Yeah,
you know. But you got to be careful because there's other ways that goes too, you know.
Sure.
He might not get his money, you know. I don't know. I'm not in the deal, you know. He left for it. He's got to deal with it if it doesn't happen. Right.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, I talked to Bradley Jones when he came over. I talked to Tyler Marshburn when he decided to come over, and I told him, I'm like, if you need the money or you want the money, go take the money. That's fine. I was like, you know, you're not gonna we don't pay people like the other teams do. But our team has been there how many years? It's been
Right.
there all this time. It's going to be consistent. If Brett Helmer tells you something, it's going to happen. So you got to think about that part of it too.
Absolutely, and
But again,
that's something that's looked past at softball at every level anymore. It really is.
But it's the numbers are. I mean, Brad Reckart told me that a long time ago, and it always stuck in my head is all the money he gets from softball, he doesn't count it. So he's not buying a house thinking, I'm going to make this much money from softball.
Right.
Because you can't do that.
No.
Because you don't know if it's there. I mean, you could have 1 or 2 bad weekends or a bad year. They might have signed you for a 3-year contract. Well, guess what? Your service is not needed anymore.
Right.
You just counted on that money. I mean, what are you going to do? You going to take them to court? No. So don't, I've never counted on softball money. Never.
No, and that's not a
And I
bad
won't.
play.
And I told my wife, I'm like, we're not going to count softball money as our income. I have a job. I'm going to take care of my job and allow me to do this recreation. If they want to give me money to do it, I've never asked Brett Helmer for $1. Never.
See,
Signed with him in 2013, and he has told me every year, what his deal is, and I say, okay, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit there and negotiate with him. It's just that, and that's me. That's how I've always been. And
Sure.
I told him that when I started. I said, I'll be your easiest guy you've ever had. Tell me what you want to do. That's what it is, And if I'm not happy, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
I've been here for 9 years.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is there's the big misconception that people make playing in the conference a career. I mean, there's obviously people that probably do, but man, there's more
Very
to
select few.
But there's more to these people are human beings too. It's like, oh, why is he not here this weekend, or he's got this or that going on with his family? Like, yeah, because he has a life outside of softball. That's okay.
Yep, it is. I mean, there's a fine line with it. I mean, there's some guys that have made great livings with softball. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But the majority of people don't, and you don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket, especially with softball.
Right.
Play the game because you love the game and you want to play the game, not because you need an income.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it'll turn out bad. You're going to jump from team to team. You're going to constantly be trying to go to the highest bidder, and you're going to be miserable. Nobody wants to go away every weekend to play for money. I mean, at least I don't.
I mean, there's people that do, and I don't know.
Guys you don't want to play with, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I would be in that boat too. I would think it's like, if you're not enjoying yourself, like, what's the money to you then?
Right. But I mean, again, that's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I think I've had a pretty good career, so
you're doing something right.
I feel comfortable with my decision in that.
Yeah. So we got two things left here. We kind of talked about one of them earlier. Cool. Just the best up and coming players in the game right now, like at any level. Just like who's like the guy that's like he's gonna get that break, and then you're gonna know you're gonna know that guy. You're gonna know what his name is. He's gonna be there.
Man, there's a new major team now, so you've got some guys probably that I don't even know of. Obviously Bradley's a young guy that's already busted onto the scene. He's great already. I said the Justin Gregory kid, he's good. He's going to be good. Of course, Tyler Marshburn with us now. He's super young. He's already great. I mean, he's already won MVP of the conference.
Yeah.
He's not even 30 years old yet.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so, guys like that are, the guys I play against most that I've seen. I'm sure I'm missing people, but.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a general question anyway. Just like those, the guys that are going to be the face of the game, and I agree with the ones you named. Like, they will be the face of the game in just a few more years. I mean, you're crazy to say that they're not.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said, it's good to get some young guys breaking through. I mean, when I first came through, man, it was hard to break through the Rusty Baumgartners and the guys that have been doing it forever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it seemed like it took guys playing in the conference 6, 7 years to get a major team, and now there's guys busting through 2, 3 years. You know, that they'll play in the conference, and the next thing you know, they're on a major team, which is great. You know, it ups everybody's game.
Yeah, it keeps
Push,
you. You know, you can't get comfortable.
right. You know, there's guys coming from your spot every day for
Sure.
sure.
So last question. So I posted on Facebook, you know, just like ask questions, fire away, and like I'll do that for the podcast sometimes. I'll get some off the law questions. I got one. This dude always asks the dumbest questions, but we have to answer them anyway.
Let's have it.
So he wants to know your mac and cheese. Are you doing stovetop or are you doing baked mac and cheese?
Nah, man, it's stovetop.
Oh,
every day of the week. Every day of the week. I cook so much mac and cheese in this house; it's unreal.
But it's
and
universal.
It's the Kraft
it goes with
mac
everything.
and cheese on top. No, that's the only thing we eat in this house. I have three girls, and that's all we eat. I asked everybody was sitting down last night, or it was 2 nights ago. I said, somebody needs to tell me what is the most used utensil. What do we use the most in this kitchen? One person can answer it, and it's the strainer. It's the strainer. I said, I washed this plastic strainer because of mac and cheese and fettuccine, 2 things we eat. I washed this thing so much, and it goes from the sink to the drying mat to the sink.
So it never gets put away.
It doesn't need to get put away because it's going to happen with one of the meals.
That's too funny.
It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee.
That's
the only mac and cheese we get around here is right. The Kraft mac and cheese with the milk, and I got some of the girls that like it more soupy. Some of the girls don't. So
yeah, I mean it's universal, just like you said. I mean, it's one of those things. It goes with everything. You can put it with everything. You got to have it, right? Yeah. We're the same way around here. Mac and cheese and spaghetti and meatballs. I mean, you got to live with it.
Yeah. If we could change it up every once in a while, it'd be amazing, but it doesn't.
No, it's not going to happen.
It gets changed to fettuccine. So, no, it's great. I love it. So,
well, listen, man, this went way longer than I wanted it to. I mean, you got to get to bed. Sorry. You got to work tomorrow. I do too. But I thank you for stopping in and doing this with us. I had a blast. It was fun.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Sorry it ran so late.
Oh no, hey, nothing to be sorry about. I can sit here and talk all night. So. Yeah. I'd say everybody else is probably ready to go to bed, though.
Yeah, cool. Well, good luck to everybody. Thanks for listening in. If you guys see me around, man, come say hi. If you're at a tournament or whatever, always come say hi. So I love meeting new people in softball and talking softball. It's always a good time for me. So Don't hesitate to come say hi.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. We'll be catching up with you soon, I'm sure.
Sounds good. Thanks, buddy.
Right, see you, buddy.
All right. Bye.
All right, so there you have it, guys. That went way longer than I thought it was going to, than I wanted it to. Thankfully, Kevin is a really great guy. He don't mind talking. If you run into him at the ballpark, he'd stop and talk to everybody. You always see him talking. He's talking to somebody. He's doing something, and he'll say it, and everybody else says it. He'll talk your ear off. And he did it there. That's probably the longest podcast I've ever had. It was a blast, and I had fun. So this one's going down as one of the funner ones we've done for sure. So thanks for stopping in, guys, and checking it out. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks to Kevin for coming in and sitting and talking with us for damn near 2 hours. Swing hard in case you hit it. BP Hero. Catch you next time.